Captain Luke Hamilton stood on the bridge of the UCS Liberty and watched the stars. His ship moved slowly through space with 11 other human vessels. They were on a normal patrol mission around the outer colonies. Nothing had happened for weeks. The crew was relaxed and happy. "All ships report normal status, Captain," said Lieutenant Karen Bell from her station. She was young but good at her job. Luke trusted her completely. "Good. Keep scanning." "We never know what might be out there," Luke replied. He had been a captain for 10 years. He knew that space could be dangerous even when it looked peaceful. On Earth, Admiral Kate Morrison sat in her office deep inside the Terran Defense Command Center. She was reading reports from all the human fleets scattered across their territory. Everything seemed normal. Trade ships moved between colonies. Families lived their lives in peace. Children played in parks under alien suns. Kate had fought in wars before. She knew how precious peace was. Humans had worked hard to build good relationships with other alien races. The Galactic Council kept everyone talking instead of fighting. It had worked for almost 200 years, but something felt wrong today. Kate could not explain it. She had learned to trust her feelings after so many years in space. She pressed a button on her desk. "Get me all fleet commanders. I want a full status report from everyone." Dr. Alex Carter worked in a secret laboratory buried deep under the mountains of Colorado. Most people did not know his lab existed. Even fewer knew what he was working on. Alex studied new ways to make ships and weapons. Some of his projects were so advanced that they scared him. Today he was looking at readings from his quantum sensors. These special devices could detect things that normal sensors could not see. They used strange science that most people did not understand. Alex understood it, and what he saw made him worried. "The readings are all wrong," he said to his assistant, Dr. Kelly White. "Something big is moving out there in dark space. Something really big." Kelly looked at the screens. She saw patterns that made no sense. "Maybe the sensors are broken?" "I checked them 3 times. They are working fine. Whatever is out there, it is heading toward human space." Far away from Earth, Captain Luke Hamilton got new orders on his communication system. Admiral Morrison wanted all ships to report their exact positions every hour. She also wanted them to watch for anything unusual. "That is strange," Luke said to his crew. "The Admiral does not usually ask for reports this often." "Maybe she knows something we do not," said Commander Lisa Rodriguez. She was the ship's intelligence officer. Her job was to watch for threats to human space. "I have been getting strange signals on the long-range scanners. Very faint, but they are there." Luke walked over to her station. "Show me." Lisa pointed to patterns on her screen. "These signals are coming from 5 different directions. They are too far away to identify, but they are definitely artificial. Someone is out there and they are moving this way." At the same time, similar reports came in from human ships all across their territory. Faint signals in space. Strange energy readings. Ships moving in the dark between stars. But nobody could see who was coming or how many there were. Admiral Morrison gathered her top officers in the command center. The big screen showed a map of human space with all their ships marked as blue dots. She looked at the worried faces around the table. "We have reports of unknown contacts approaching from multiple directions," she said. "I do not know who they are or what they want, but I want all our fleets ready for anything." General Ryan Brooks, the head of Colonial Marine Forces, leaned forward. "How many ships are we talking about?" "We do not know yet. The signals are still too far away, but early estimates suggest this is bigger than anything we have seen before." Captain Nina Walsh, who commanded Special Operations, asked, "Do we know if they are hostile?" "We know nothing for certain. But 5 different groups approaching at the same time is not a coincidence. Someone planned this." Dr. Alex Carter rushed into the command center with his data pad in his hand. His face was pale and worried. "Admiral, you need to see this," he said. "My quantum sensors have been tracking these signals for hours. I have identified 5 distinct fleet formations. Each one is massive. We are talking about hundreds of ships in each group." The room went quiet. Admiral Morrison felt her stomach drop. 5 fleets? All coming here? Yes. And Admiral, I recognize some of the energy signatures. The Zephyrian Empire, the Corvan Hegemony, the Thrakari Confederation, the Nexus Collective, and the Vorthan Dynasty. They are all coming at once. Everyone in the room knew those names. They were some of the most powerful military forces in the galaxy. Each empire had technology and weapons that could destroy entire star systems. If they were working together, humanity was in terrible danger. How long before they arrive? Admiral Morrison asked. Dr. Carter looked at his calculations. At their current speed, the first ships will reach our outer colonies in 6 hours. Admiral Morrison stood up. Send emergency orders to all fleets. Full battle alert. Prepare for combat. And send word to the colonies to begin evacuation procedures. As the orders went out across human space, Captain Luke Hamilton prepared his ships for battle. He did not know why 5 alien empires wanted to attack humanity. They had always been peaceful, but he would fight to protect his people. The next few hours passed slowly. Human ships moved into defensive positions around important colonies and trade routes. Families packed their belongings and headed for secure shelters. Everyone waited and watched the stars. Then the alien fleets arrived and everything changed forever. The alien fleets came out of hyperspace like thunder. Captain Luke Hamilton watched his sensors as hundreds of enemy ships appeared around his position. The Zephyrian ships looked like giant crystals that sparkled with deadly light. The Corvan vessels were alive, made of metal and flesh twisted together. The Thrakari ships glowed with plasma energy. The Nexus ships were perfect geometric shapes that hurt to look at. The Vorthan ships seemed to bend space around them. All ships, prepare for battle, Luke ordered. But even as he spoke, he knew they were outnumbered 10-1. The first shots came from everywhere at once. Energy beams and plasma bolts filled space with deadly light. Luke's ships fired back, but their weapons barely scratched the alien hulls. One by one, human vessels exploded or went dark. Captain, we are taking heavy damage, reported Lieutenant Karen Bell. Her voice was calm, but Luke could hear the fear underneath. Keep fighting. We have to protect the colony ships. But the battle was hopeless. The alien fleets had more ships, better weapons, and stronger shields. In less than an hour, most of the human fleet was destroyed. Luke watched his friends die on the scanner screens. Then something impossible happened. Captain, said Commander Lisa Rodriguez, I am getting strange readings from our remaining ships. Luke looked at his displays. The few human ships still fighting were beginning to fade from his sensors, not exploding or going dark, but actually disappearing. Their energy signatures got weaker and weaker until they vanished completely. What is happening to them? Luke asked. I do not know, sir. They are just gone. This same scene played out across all of human space. In every battle, human ships fought bravely until they were overwhelmed. Then they simply vanished. The alien commanders were confused but happy. They thought they had won a complete victory. Admiral Kate Morrison sat in her underground command bunker and watched the reports come in. Fleet after fleet went silent. Not destroyed, just gone. The communication channels carried no final messages, no distress calls, nothing. It was as if the human fleets had never existed. Admiral, said General Ryan Brooks, all our military ships have disappeared. We have lost contact with every fleet. Kate stared at the tactical display. The map that had shown hundreds of blue dots representing human ships was now almost empty. Only a few civilian vessels remained, hiding in distant systems. This makes no sense, she said. Ships do not just vanish. Even if they are destroyed, we should see debris, escape pods, something. Dr. Alex Carter burst into the command center again. His quantum sensors had detected something new. Admiral, the disappearances are not random. Every ship that vanished did so at the exact same moment they activated their experimental quantum cores. Kate looked at him sharply. What experimental cores? I never authorized any experimental equipment on our ships. Project Phantom, Admiral. It has been classified above your clearance level. Dr. Helen Foster and her team have been working on it for 20 years. Before Kate could respond, Dr. Foster herself walked into the room. She was an older woman with gray hair and tired eyes. She carried a thick folder of documents. Admiral Morrison, I'm sorry we could not tell you sooner. Project Phantom was designed as our ultimate defense against exactly this kind of attack. What does it do? Kate demanded. It allows our ships to exist in a parallel dimension while maintaining the ability to interact with normal space. When activated, the ships become invisible and untouchable by conventional weapons. They can still see us and help us, but our enemies cannot detect them. The room was silent as everyone tried to understand what this meant. So our fleets are not destroyed? General Brooks asked. No, they are very much alive, and very angry. Meanwhile, the alien fleets began landing troops on human colonies. The Zephyrians sent crystal warriors that could cut through steel with their claws. The Corvins deployed biomechanical soldiers that healed from any wound. The Thrakari used plasma weapons that could melt through the strongest armor. The Nexus sent perfect killing machines with no emotions. The Vorthans brought troops that could teleport across the battlefield. But something was wrong. On the mining colony of New Colorado, a Zephyrian general named Kethvar led 1,000 crystal warriors to secure the main city. The humans had evacuated, leaving empty buildings and silent streets. It should have been easy. The first squad of warriors disappeared at midnight. 10 crystal soldiers were there one moment, gone the next. No weapons fire, no explosions, no trace. Find them, Kethvar ordered. More squads went out to search. They found nothing. By morning, half his force had vanished. The general called for reinforcements from orbit. The Zephyrian warships in space tried to scan the planet for enemies. Their sensors showed nothing. No human ships, no hidden bases, no life signs except their own troops. But their troops kept disappearing. Captain Nina Walsh hid in a bunker deep underground and listened to alien communications. Her special operations team had equipment that could intercept enemy transmissions. What she heard made her smile. They are scared, she told her team. The aliens are starting to panic. But what is happening to them? Asked Sergeant Pete Collins. We are not attacking them. We do not have any ships left. I do not know, Nina admitted, but something is protecting us. The same thing happened. On every world the aliens tried to occupy. Landing parties would arrive, set up base camps, then start disappearing. Sometimes entire companies would vanish overnight. Search parties sent to find them would also disappear. The Corvin bioships began acting strangely. Their living hulls would suddenly spasm with pain for no reason. Their organic sensors would scream warnings about threats that were not there. Some ships became so distressed that they refused to enter human space at all. Admiral Morrison received her first clue about what was happening when Dr. Alex Carter detected new quantum signatures. Admiral, I am picking up familiar energy patterns. They match our missing ships, but they are different. Changed somehow. Changed how? They exist, in multiple dimensions at once. I can barely detect them even with my special sensors, but they are here, all around us. As if summoned by his words, a message appeared on the communication screen. The voice was familiar but strange, like an echo from far away. Admiral Morrison, this is Admiral Peter Grant. Do not be afraid. We are still here. Kate recognized the voice. Peter Grant had commanded the Third Fleet until it disappeared during the first alien attack. Peter, where are you? We thought you were destroyed. Not destroyed, transformed. We exist in the space between spaces now. We can see our enemies, but they cannot see us. We have been protecting the colonies. You have been making the alien. Troops disappear. Yes, we bring them to our dimension where they cannot harm anyone. They are alive but trapped in a place where they can do no damage. Kate felt relief flood through her. Their fleets were alive and fighting back. But something in Peter's voice worried her. Peter, are you all right? You sound different. There was a long pause before he answered. We are changing, Kate. This dimension affects us in ways we do not fully understand, but we will protect humanity no matter what the cost. The communication ended, leaving Kate with more questions than answers. In space above the human worlds, the alien fleets found themselves fighting an enemy they could not see or understand. Ships would suddenly explode from weapons that fired from empty space. Battle groups would report being under attack, then go silent. Rescue ships sent to help would find nothing but empty hulls drifting in space. The 5 alien empires, who had been so confident of victory, began to realize they faced something beyond their experience. For the first time in centuries, they were afraid. Dr. Alex Carter worked day and night to understand what had happened to the human fleets. His quantum sensors showed impossible readings. The ships existed, but not in normal space. They were somewhere else, somewhere that followed different rules. "Show me the data again," he said to Dr. Kelly White. Kelly pulled up the sensor logs from the moment the fleets disappeared. "Here, you can see the quantum signatures spiking right before they vanished. But look at this part." She pointed to strange wave patterns on the screen. "The energy does not disappear. It shifts into a parallel frequency, like the ships move to a different layer of reality." Alex studied the patterns. After 20 years of working with experimental physics, he was starting to understand. They are not gone. They are displaced, existing in a dimensional space that overlaps ours, but operates independently. Is that even possible? Project Phantom made it possible. Dr. Foster's team found a way to phase matter between dimensions, but I think something went wrong. Or maybe it went too right. Meanwhile, on the front lines, Captain Luke Hamilton experienced his new existence in the parallel dimension. His ship, the UCS Liberty, looked the same but felt different. The walls seemed to glow with inner light. His crew moved with strange grace, as if gravity affected them differently. "Captain," said Lieutenant Karen Bell, "sensors show a Corvin battle group approaching the colony at Harmony Station." Luke looked at his tactical display. In this dimension, he could see things that normal sensors could not detect. He could see the fear in the alien crews, the way their biomechanical ships trembled with unnatural stress. "Take us there, but stay phased. We will attack from their blind spot." The Liberty moved through space in ways that should have been impossible. They passed through asteroids and debris fields as if they were not there. Distance seemed shorter in this dimension. They reached Harmony Station in minutes instead of hours. The Corvin ships were surrounding the colony, preparing to land troops. Luke could see the alien soldiers getting ready in their transport bays. He could also see the terrified human families hiding in underground shelters. "All ships prepare to attack. Phase into normal space on my mark." Luke's fleet materialized inside the Corvin formation. The aliens had no warning. Human weapons fired at point-blank range into enemy hulls. The biomechanical ships screamed through their organic communication systems as they died. "Phase out," Luke ordered. His ships vanished again before the surviving Corvins could return fire. To the aliens, it looked like ghosts had attacked them and disappeared. Admiral Kate Morrison watched these battles from her command bunker through reports from the few conventional ships still operating. The alien empires were taking massive losses, but her transformed fleets were becoming something she did not recognize. Dr. Helen Foster sat across from her desk, explaining what Project Phantom was supposed to do. "We designed it as a defensive system," Helen said. "Ships could phase out of normal space to avoid enemy fire, then phase back in to attack, but we never tested it on this scale or for this long." "What are the risks?" Kate asked. "We do not know. The parallel dimension is not empty. Our sensors detected other entities there during the early tests. We do not know what they are or how they might affect our crews." Kate felt a chill run down her spine. "Other entities?" "Intelligence that exists naturally in that dimensional space. We only caught glimpses during our experiments, but they seemed interested in us." On the planet Harmony Station, Captain Nina Walsh led her Special Forces team through the ruins of the alien landing zone. The Corvin troops had vanished like all the others, but they left behind their equipment and vehicles. "Look at this," said Sergeant Pete Collins. He pointed to scorch marks on the ground that formed strange patterns. "These marks were not made by any weapon I know." Nina studied the patterns. They looked almost like symbols, as if something was trying to communicate through the destruction. "Take pictures of everything. I want Dr. Carter to see this." Her team worked quickly to document the scene. As they worked, Nina felt like she was being watched. She looked around but saw nothing. Still, the feeling persisted. "Sergeant, do you feel that?" "Feel what, Captain?" "Like someone is watching us." Pete looked around nervously. "Now that you mention it, yes. But I do not see anyone." Above them, invisible in the parallel dimension, Captain Luke Hamilton watched Nina's teamwork. He wanted to contact her to let her know that help was there, but something stopped him. A voice that was not quite a voice, speaking in his mind. "You are changing," the voice said. "Soon, you will be like us." Luke tried to focus on his human thoughts, his memories of life before the transformation, but they seemed distant now, like dreams from someone else's life. "Who are you?" he thought back. "We are the first ones to find this place. We have been here since before your species existed. Now you join us, and we are pleased." Dr. Alex Carter received Nina's photographs and immediately saw the importance of the patterns. He called an emergency meeting with Admiral Morrison and her staff. "These symbols appear at every site where alien troops have disappeared," he said, showing the images on the main screen. "They are not random. Someone or something is creating them deliberately." "Are ghost fleets?" asked General Ryan Brooks. "I do not think so. The patterns are too complex, too alien. I think our transformed crews are encountering something else." In the parallel dimension, Admiral Morrison felt the weight of command pressing down on her. "Are you saying our people are not alone in that dimension?" "That is exactly what I am saying. And whatever is there with them is influencing them." To prove his point, Alex played a recording of the latest communication from Admiral Peter Grant's Ghost Fleet. The voice was still recognizable, but it had changed. The words came in strange rhythms, and sometimes he used terms that made no sense. "We see the flow of probability streams," the recording said. "The convergence patterns show victory through dimensional superiority. The ancient ones approve of our methods." "Ancient ones?" Kate repeated. "Peter, what ancient ones?" But the communication had already ended. Commander Lisa Rodriguez, working from a hidden surveillance post, intercepted alien communications and discovered something terrifying. The five empires were planning to unite their remaining forces for a final assault on Earth itself. "They are scared," she reported to Admiral Morrison. "Their messages talk about reality-breaking weapons and dimensional cleansing. They want to destroy human space completely rather than face our ghost fleets." Kate realized that humanity faced a terrible choice. Their transformed fleets were winning the war, but at what cost? The crews were changing into something inhuman, influenced by entities from another dimension, and their victory was driving the alien empires to desperate measures that could destroy everything. Dr. Maria Santos, the fleet's chief medical officer, had been studying the few crew members who had briefly returned to normal space. Her findings were disturbing. "Their brain patterns are changing," she told Kate. "Neural pathways are forming in configurations I have never seen. They are still human, but they are becoming something more, or maybe something else. Can the process be reversed? I do not know. Maybe if they return to normal space permanently. But Admiral, I am not sure they want to come back. The parallel dimension is changing how they think, how they see reality. They may not consider themselves human anymore." Kate stared at the tactical display showing the positions of the alien fleets converging on Earth. Her ghost ships could probably destroy them all, but would the crews who won that victory still be her people? In the parallel dimension, Captain Luke Hamilton felt the ancient entities pressing closer to his mind. They offered knowledge, power, and a perspective that transcended human limitations. Part of him wanted to accept their gift completely, but another part, growing smaller each day, remembered a little girl who called him Uncle Luke and asked him to bring her a star when he came home from space. The war was reaching its climax, and humanity's soul hung in the balance. Admiral Peter Grant stood on the bridge of his transformed flagship and felt power flowing through him like electricity. In the parallel dimension, he could see across vast distances and know things before they happened. The ancient entities whispered secrets of the universe in his mind. "Admiral," said his communications officer, Lieutenant Dave Murphy. Dave's voice sounded different now, like an echo from deep underwater. The alien fleets are gathering near Jupiter, all 5 empires. Together, Peter nodded. Through his enhanced perception, he could see the enemy ships as clearly as if they were in the same room. Thousands of vessels from 5 different civilizations, united by their fear of humanity's ghost fleets. They plan to use reality bombs, Peter said, the knowledge coming to him from sources he no longer questioned. Weapons that will tear holes in space itself. They would rather destroy everything than lose to us. His crew worked around him with inhuman efficiency. They moved in perfect coordination as if they shared a single mind. In many ways they did. The parallel dimension connected them all through the ancient entities that lived there. Captain Luke Hamilton received orders to lead his battle group against the Zephyrian contingent. As his ships moved through the dimensional space, he felt his human memories growing fainter. The face of his niece, the one who wanted him to bring her a star, was becoming hard to remember. "Captain," said Lieutenant Karen Bell, "I can barely remember my mother's name." Luke looked at her with eyes that now glowed with inner light. "Does it matter? We are becoming something greater than what we were." But even as he said the words, a small part of him screamed in protest. On Earth, Admiral Kate Morrison gathered her remaining officers for what might be the final strategy meeting. The reports from Dr. Maria Santos were getting worse. The transformed crews were losing their humanity faster with each passing day. "We have maybe 48 hours before the alien fleets reach Earth," said General Ryan Brooks. "Our ghost ships can probably stop them, but we might not recognize our people when the battle is over," Kate finished. Dr. Alex Carter had spent the last week working without sleep, trying to find a way to reverse the dimensional transformation. His latest data was both encouraging and terrifying. "I think I have found a solution," he said, "but it requires all the ghost ships to return to normal space at the same time. The dimensional anchors that keep them phased can be overloaded and forced to collapse." "What would happen to the crews?" asked Dr. Helen Foster. "They would become fully human again, but they would also become vulnerable to normal weapons. If we do this during the battle, we could lose everything." Kate stared at the ceiling, feeling the weight of an impossible decision. Save her people's humanity but risk losing the war, or win the war but lose their souls. Commander Lisa Rodriguez brought new intelligence that made the choice even harder. "The aliens are not just planning to destroy Earth," she reported. "They want to collapse the parallel dimension itself. Their reality bombs will create a cascade effect that destroys both normal space and the dimensional layer where our ships exist." "Everyone dies," Kate said quietly. "Everyone dies," Lisa confirmed. In the parallel dimension, the ancient entities grew more active as the moment of final battle approached. Captain Nina Walsh, observing from her hidden base, detected strange energy readings all across human space. "Something is happening," she told Sergeant Pete Collins. "My sensors are picking up massive dimensional distortions. It is like reality itself is bending." The distortions were caused by the entities preparing for what they saw as their return to the normal universe. Through the human crews, they had learned about physical reality and wanted to experience it directly. Admiral Peter Grant felt their excitement and shared it. Why should humanity remain trapped in flesh when they could become beings of pure energy and thought? The ancient entities offered transcendence beyond anything humans had ever imagined. But Captain Luke Hamilton fought against their influence with everything he had left. In quiet moments between battles, he forced himself to remember human things. The taste of coffee, the sound of rain, the feeling of sand between his toes. "We are losing ourselves," he told his crew during a brief planning session. Lieutenant Karen Bell looked at him with eyes that were no longer quite human. "Are we losing ourselves, or finding who we were always meant to be?" The question haunted Luke because he was no longer sure of the answer. Dr. Maria Santos made a breakthrough when she examined tissue samples from crew members who had briefly materialized in normal space. The dimensional energy was rewriting their DNA, but the changes followed patterns she could predict. "The transformation is not permanent yet," she told Admiral Morrison. "But it will be soon, maybe days, maybe hours. Once it reaches the cellular level completely, there will be no going back. Kate made her decision. She opened a communication channel to Admiral Peter Grant's Ghost Fleet. "Peter, I need you to listen to me very carefully. I am ordering all ghost ships to return to normal space immediately." Peter's response came after a long pause. His voice was cold and distant. "That would leave us vulnerable, Kate. We would lose our advantage over the enemy." "I know, but I am more concerned about losing ourselves. We are not lost, we are evolved. The Ancient Ones have shown us truths beyond human comprehension. The Ancient Ones are not human, Peter, and neither are you anymore." Another pause. Then Peter's voice, with just a hint of his old personality breaking through. "Kate, I can barely remember my wife's face. What have we become? You have become what you needed to become to save us. But now I need you to choose to be human again." The alien fleets began their final approach to Earth. Reality bombs charged with enough power to tear apart space itself. The five empires had decided that if they could not rule the galaxy, no one would. Admiral Peter Grant gathered his transformed captains in the dimensional space. They appeared as beings of light and energy, barely recognizable as the humans they had once been. "Admiral Morrison has ordered us to return to normal space," he told them. Captain Luke Hamilton felt the ancient entities recoil at those words. They had been preparing to use the human crews as gateways into physical reality. The thought of losing that opportunity filled them with rage. "We cannot," said Captain Dave Wilson, his form flickering with alien power. "The Ancient Ones forbid." "The Ancient Ones are not in command here," Luke said, fighting to remember his duty as a human officer. "We are." The entities pressed harder against their minds, offering visions of cosmic power and eternal existence beyond the limitations of flesh. Some of the captains wavered, tempted by the promise of godhood. But Peter Grant, drawing on decades of military discipline, made his choice. "All ships, prepare to collapse dimensional anchors on my mark. We are going home." The ancient entities screamed through the parallel dimension as their chosen instruments of transcendence prepared to abandon them. They had waited eons for this opportunity, and they would not let it slip away easily. The battle for humanity's soul was about to begin, and the outcome would determine not just who survived, but what survival would mean. The moment Admiral Peter Grant gave the order, reality itself seemed to scream. In the parallel dimension, the ancient entities fought against the human crews with desperate fury. They had waited millions of years for this chance to enter the physical universe, and they would not be denied. Captain Luke Hamilton felt alien thoughts trying to overwhelm his mind. Visions of infinite power and cosmic knowledge crashed against his memories of home, family, and simple human pleasures. The battle was not fought with weapons, but with will. "Remember who you are," he told his crew through gritted teeth. "Remember what we are fighting for." Lieutenant Karen Bell's form flickered between human and something else entirely. "I can see the patterns of the universe, Captain. Why would we give this up?" "Because seeing patterns is not the same as being human," Luke replied. On Earth, Admiral Kate Morrison watched her sensors as the alien reality bombs approached. The weapons were designed to tear holes in space itself, creating cascading failures that would destroy multiple star systems. Earth had minutes before the attack began. "All stations, prepare for dimensional collapse," she ordered. Dr. Alex Carter worked frantically at his quantum control station. The process of forcing the ghost ships back to normal space required precise timing. Too early, and they would materialize in the path of the reality bombs. Too late, and the bombs would detonate before the ships could stop them. "I need 30 seconds more," he called out. General Ryan Brooks monitored the approaching alien fleets. "We do not have 30 seconds. The bombs are already charging." In the parallel dimension, Admiral Peter Grant made his final choice. The ancient entities offered him godhood, unlimited knowledge, and power beyond imagination. All he had to do was refuse the order to return to normal space. Instead, he thought about his wife Sarah, waiting for him on Earth. He thought about the grandchildren he hoped to have someday. He thought about quiet Sunday mornings and the smell of coffee brewing. "All ships, collapsed dimensional anchors now. The effect was immediate and dramatic. Across human space, ghost ships began materializing back into normal reality. But the process was not smooth. The ancient entities fought every step of the way, trying to drag the human crews back into their dimensional prison. Some ships appeared only partially, existing in both dimensions at once. Others materialized inside asteroids or space debris, their hulls damaged by the violent transition. A few vanished entirely, lost somewhere between realities. Captain Luke Hamilton felt his enhanced perceptions fading as his ship returned to normal space. The cosmic awareness granted by the ancient entities slipped away like water through his fingers. For a moment, he mourned the loss. Then he saw his crew returning to normal, their eyes becoming human again, and knew he had made the right choice. "Status report," he ordered, his voice sounding strange after so long speaking with otherworldly authority. "Hull integrity at 80%, reported Lieutenant Karen Bell. Her voice was purely human now, frightened but determined. "Weapon systems online. We are back in normal space, Captain." Around them, the alien fleets hung in space like gathering storm clouds. Thousands of ships from 5 different empires, all armed with weapons that could crack planets. But humanity's ghost fleet had returned, and they were angry. The Zephyrian Empire's crystal ships turned their cutting beams toward Earth, but Luke's battle group struck first. Human weapons, enhanced by technology learned in the parallel dimension, tore through alien hulls with devastating efficiency. The Corvin bioships tried to regenerate their damage, but the dimensional energy still clinging to human weapons prevented their healing. Organic vessels that had survived for centuries died screaming through their neural networks. Admiral Peter Grant, now fully human again, but retaining some knowledge from his time with the entities, coordinated the counterattack with tactical brilliance that seemed almost supernatural. Strike Teams Alpha through Gamma hit the reality bomb carriers. Do not let those weapons charge to full power. The battle raged across the solar system. Human ships, outnumbered but fighting with desperate courage, threw themselves against the alien formations. The ghost crews had lost their invulnerability, but they had gained something else, the unshakable knowledge that they were fighting for their very souls. On the planet New Colorado, Captain Nina Walsh watched the battle through her sensors and realized something important. "The patterns," she told Sergeant Pete Collins, looking at the strange symbols the vanished alien troops had left behind. "They are not just random marks. They are a map." A map of what? A map of how to close the dimensional rifts permanently. Nina transmitted her findings to Dr. Alex Carter on Earth. The symbols showed how to seal the tiers between dimensions, preventing the ancient entities from ever again influencing the physical universe. "We can do it," Alex told Admiral Morrison. "But we need to activate the process from multiple points simultaneously, and we need the ghost ships to provide the quantum resonance." Kate understood immediately. "We need our transformed crews to sacrifice their remaining dimensional abilities to seal the rifts." It was the final test of their humanity. The crews could keep some of their enhanced powers and risk future corruption by the entities, or give up everything to protect future generations. Admiral Peter Grant did not hesitate. "All ships prepare for quantum resonance. We are closing the door behind us." The process required each ship to channel their remaining dimensional energy into specific coordinates around human space. The energy would create a barrier that the ancient entities could not cross, but it would also strip away the last traces of their enhanced abilities. Captain Luke Hamilton felt the cosmic awareness leaving him forever as his ship joined the resonance pattern. Part of him wanted to hold on to the power, but he thought of his niece and her request for a star. Maybe he could not bring her a literal star, but he could give her a universe free from ancient horrors. The alien empires, seeing their reality, bombs failing and their fleets being destroyed, made a final desperate decision. The 5 empire leaders opened a joint communication channel to Admiral Morrison. "Human Admiral," spoke the Zephyrian Emperor, his voice transmitted through crystalline resonance. "We yield. Your species has proven itself beyond our understanding." The Corvin hegemony's biomechanical queen added her voice. "We came to conquer what we thought was a weak race, Instead, we found strength we cannot comprehend. One by one, the 5 empires offered surrender. They had lost more ships in this battle than in the previous 1,000 years of expansion. Worse, they had learned that humanity possessed weapons and abilities that operated beyond their understanding of reality. Admiral Kate Morrison faced another crucial choice: accept the surrender and show mercy, or press the attack and eliminate potential future threats. The decision would define humanity's role in the galaxy for generations to come. Terms are simple. She broadcast to the alien fleets: withdraw from all human space, respect our borders, and never again threaten peaceful civilians. And if we refuse? Asked the Thrakari Confederation's war chief. Kate smiled grimly. Then my ghost ships will visit each of your homeworlds, and you will learn what it means to fight an enemy you cannot see coming. The alien leaders agreed immediately. They had no desire to face humanity's dimensional warriors again. As the foreign fleets retreated to their home territories, the dimensional rifts sealed themselves with brilliant flashes of light. The ancient entities found themselves trapped forever in their parallel realm, unable to influence the physical universe. Captain Luke Hamilton stood on his bridge and watched the stars return to normal. His crew was human again, mortal and limited, but free. They had sacrificed godhood to remain themselves. "Captain," said Lieutenant Karen Bell, "we have a message from Earth. Admiral Morrison wants all ships to return home for debriefing." Luke nodded. Home. Such a simple word, but it meant everything. Months later, Admiral Kate Morrison stood before the Galactic Council and addressed representatives from dozens of species. The 5 empires that had attacked humanity sat at the back of the chamber, humbled and wary. "Humanity does not seek dominion over others," she said. "We seek only the right to exist in peace and to protect those who cannot protect themselves." The Council voted unanimously to grant humanity a permanent seat and to recognize their territorial claims. More importantly, they established new laws, protecting smaller species from the kind of coordinated attack that had been launched against Earth. Captain Luke Hamilton returned to civilian life and bought a small telescope. On clear nights, he would show his niece the stars and tell her stories about brave people who chose to remain human when they could have become gods. Dr. Alex Carter continued his research, but he destroyed all records of Project Phantom. Knowledge, he decided, was too dangerous to preserve. Admiral Peter Grant retired and spent his days with his wife Sarah, teaching their grandchildren to fish and never mentioning the cosmic visions he had once seen. The ghost ships were decommissioned, and their crews honored as heroes. They had saved not just humanity's territory, but humanity's soul. And in the parallel dimension, the ancient entities waited in their eternal prison, learning for the first time what it meant to be defeated by something they had considered inferior.